Fuck you.
I know. I hear you. I hear you. It's been a while. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode in the LS Build series. I know it's been a while, like a long while. I think the last time I saw you guys, we had just put the motor in the car. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and back and watch the other videos. We had put the engine in the car, I guess it was probably end of January, February. It's been a long while since I've done anything since. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with y'all. Didn't have a job. It is what it is. I was, I don't know if I shared this before on the channel, but I work in IT. So I do like desktop support and stuff like that. Was working with one company, in a contract position, and the contract ended, and I was having a tough time finding another position. But I'm here, I'm back. We've got a lot of stuff planned. We've got a lot of parts in. I got a lot of boxes I need to condense up in here. So past 4 months, I've just been grinding, job hunting, today's market. If you're like me or around my age, you don't have a full career established, you're getting a career off the ground. Job market sucks right now. I know y'all seen the TikTok videos. I know I've seen the videos on Instagram. The job market really sucks right now. But I was fortunate enough to get a job again. And I'm not even gonna lie, the past 4 months have been like mad depressing. What I'm about to say next doesn't necessarily always make it on video sometimes. And some guys, if you're from a small channel, building a car like this, money don't grow on trees. Money don't grow on trees. And when you have a passion for something like this and you want to, see the end result, that part gets very frustrating when stuff like reality kicks in. At one point I was actually considering selling the car because I didn't know how long it was going to be without finding another job, especially in today's economy and all the stuff that's going on politically. I just didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore. The lack of sitting here in front of you guys, in front of the camera and, expressing myself, that part I was lacking. And I felt like, not doing any content for real, because let's be real, you can't really do car content without car stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? That part got kind of hard, and I didn't even know if I wanted to do YouTube or anything like that anymore. But you look back at, some of the people who inspire you, people who inspired me, like, that did Blue, grew up in the same areas, and watching all his videos and stuff, those guys don't really give up. So I'm not gonna give up. I worked my ass off. I interviewed a lot, finally got a job, and finally back to where we can start finishing this guy up. Also, I don't think I'm gonna make any events this year, but it is what it is. Builds, especially a swap like this, it takes time. Not gonna make any Apex events this year, probably, especially with me moving at the end of the summer. So I just thought I'd keep it a buck with y'all. I feel like this is a very real thing when it comes to the car hobby that not a lot of people talk about. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't do this for a living, although I hope to get there at one point, and I probably will get there at one point, where I don't have to sit at my desk all day for a job, just to blow my money on this. I'd like to be able to, do this full time, as anybody in this hobby would. But yeah, man, I'll get off my soapbox, but I just wanted to share that, with you guys. Kind of helps me feel better, especially since I don't go to therapy. So this kind of is my therapy. So that's my 2 cents on that. So today's video is going to be about my fuel setup. Not everything is here, so there's probably going to be like continuation or part 2 of this video. But if you don't know what this is the Radium fuel hat surge tank, FHST. So this replaces the fuel level sender on the driver's side. And so this will act as my in-tank surge tank. And let me tell you why we're running this setup. Now in motorsport, you see a lot of cars running a fuel cell or a surge tank, and it looks cool and race car like, but its purpose is to prevent fuel starvation to the motor and sloshing at high Gs. Now in racing, you can't use any of this stuff without following the rules, and the #1 rule is safety. In order to safely use a fuel cell, you have to have safe separation between the driver and the fuel cell. And the reason for that is because if you're in a crash or a rollover, you don't want fuel getting all over you and possibly catching on fire. So why am I using an in-tank surge tank over a fuel cell? That's because the cabin of a 370Z is completely open. If I had a fuel cell, there would be no separation between myself and the fuel source. So yeah, that's pretty much a breakdown of what all this is and why we're doing it. But let's break down some of the specifics of what all I got. So in my specific setup, we're gonna run 2 fuel pumps and the fuel hat. So we're gonna do 2 450s, Wellbore 450s or TI Automotive 450s. And then this is just the Radium swap kit, or not swap kit, the Radium fuel system kit. So it's got everything you need for wiring, a lot of fuel hose. I think it comes with 1 relay, maybe 2. I think there's 2 relays in here. I'm not 100% sure on that. There might be 1 or 2. And then your surge tank, obviously, fuel lines, and then this is a pigtail for the fuel pump. So that's really all I got going on as far as the build right now. I got a lot of other stuff I'm working on right now. As far as checklist goes, we've got fuel system, cooling, engine management, and we're done. Which I'm really not that far away. I'm really checking to try and get this car at least done by July so I can enjoy it a little bit while it's still warm. That's just gonna be today's video, is starting on the fuel system. Like I said, we'll do part 2. Really just trying to get back into the swing of things. With that being said, our next objective is going to be to pull all of this crap out so that I can get to the fuel tank, clean everything out, especially because you don't want any dirt to fall back into your fuel system. Because like I said, we are going to reuse the stock tank. Excuse me. But yeah, let's go ahead and get all of this stuff out, and then I'll bring you guys back to the table and show you guys how to hook up half of a surge tank. Alrighty, so we've got our fuel sending unit here, and then we have the fuel level sender over there. This is the fuel sending side, so this sends all the fuel to the engine, and then that's where the fuel level sensor is, but that's also where our fuel surge tank is going to go. So the surge tank is going to go there. Lift pump is going to be on this side. The lift pump will be the stock location. It's a lot dustier under there than I thought it was going to be. I was hoping... Actually, of every car I've seen, my car's probably the dirtiest fuel hat I've ever seen. I'm gonna need some brake cleaner and a vacuum cleaner, so give me a second. Don't get fuel everywhere. For this side, we're actually not gonna end up reusing these, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, luckily, because my car's been sitting for a year, this fuel hasn't been very high up on the hat, so it's really not that much fuel coming out, which is great. My bad, guys. I kind of started working and forgot to pick up the camera. But basically what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready for, or getting the fuel hat ready for 2 pumps. So we got 6 AN orb fittings on each side. It only comes pre-installed with 1. So now we've got the 2 6 AN orb fittings for each pump, and now we just go from there. But like I said before I started, it only comes pre-installed with 1 6 AN orb fitting. So you have to put the other one on if you want to run 2 pumps. If you're only running one, then, you know, by all means use the one pre-installed. But if you need 2, you need 2. Said this is the specific one for a 450, so it comes with the connector for the other pump. I've already installed the wiring for that, so like I said, whenever the pump gets here, I'll just throw that in and then put the sock on. This retaining clip right here was like really difficult. I don't know if you guys can see that. Really difficult to push on, kind of sucks. I wish it was like a softer metal, but then again, I see why it's not, because you don't want it to come off and the sock comes off. So what I'm actually gonna do now is I'm gonna put this in here just for the time being. And I'm going to actually put on the fuel level sensor, or the float. And we're gonna put that on the side of the surge tank because that's where it belongs.
Hello, Jehovah's Witnesses, do you have a minute?
So about 6 scriptures and 40 minutes later, we're moving on. I'm actually just getting ready to snip these wires and then show you guys how the float lines up with the side of the surge tank. Okay, so to remove the fuel level sender, all you have to do is push in on this tab, and it's kind of hard to see that part moving there. So you just push in and then opposite hand push up. There, it just comes off like that. And then we need to cut the positive and negative up towards the top. All right, I kind of did this part off camera because I was looking for my wire cutters, but we needed to strip each wire about 1/4 inch and then cut about 1/2 inch of heat shrink, and then we'll put this on ring terminals. Now I don't have the wires fully connected, but we just line this up and clicks in, and that's it. So that's pretty much it for on the bench assembly. The only thing I do need to do is, you know, add the second pump, which is not that big of a deal. But we got the fuel level sender on there. Polarity doesn't matter, so these aren't labeled positive and negative. But it did say to put the black wire on the nearest and the red on the farthest, so that's what I did. I am by no means an electrical wizard. Electrical actually frustrates me. If you think of electrical like water, it makes a lot more sense, which it somewhat does. But I still don't get it. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be this fuel pressure regulator. This is built in to the system, so it's nice of Radium to do that. If I was still VQ powered, I'd probably still use this, but with an LS swap, we're not. And so Radium actually offers a block off plate, so we're going to take this out. I need to order the block off plate because what this does, it regulates pressure before the rails. With an LS/track setup, you know, we want to have as much fuel at the rails as possible. So we don't want to regulate pressure before the rails. So we're going to take this off and put an aftermarket fuel pressure regulator in the engine bay. And it also came with this nice gauge. So it came with a fuel pressure gauge. I assume this goes somewhere in here. There's a connector for it, but I'm not going to use either one of these things. So if somebody wants it, let me know. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I know it wasn't much, but I'm glad to be back and working on the car and making videos again. It really does make me happy. So if you liked today's video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, drop a comment in the comment section below. Also hit that subscribe button if you'd be so kind. It helps me, helps the channel grow, helps me reach a broader audience. Other than that, that's all I got. Hope to see you guys in a couple of days for part 2 of the fuel system video. Until then,